I mean, it sounds like you might not even come out alive or in one piece. Gee, mini Christmas.
Well, you think about that. I mean, that is crazy. Just totally. I mean, So anyway, what reports? I ran out of reports for tonight. Doing all these wacky news. I mean, we need people out there to do some more wacky stuff. I'll tell you one thing. This skeleton, every time I glance up there, it kind of like shocks me for a second.
I bet. That's what I told you earlier. Could you imagine? You're not going to be used to that one day or night. You're going to turn around and you're going to scare yourself and fall out of the chair or something. I can just see that. You got to be careful.
Well, we had to turn it off because it's sound and motion activated. So that means I couldn't do my show at all because it would be going off. But I'll tell you, this thing, it says a lot. The mouth opens and closes. The head turns. I don't know how they can, well, it's made in China naturally, how they can even produce something like this. But I'm going to tell you, it's awesome. I mean, I like crazy things. You've seen the pictures of my studio.
Yeah, you've got all kind of stuff. It's you've got skeletons. That one you're thinking about getting, or the one you're talking about there, looks like Skeletor with a sword or something. He's big. He's 6 footer.
Yeah, well, I sent you a picture of it. All you have to do is look at it. It's sitting there right there next to one of my speakers about 3 feet away from me. Yeah,
that's the one that's going to scare you one of these days. You forget about it. You're going to turn around and have a little heart attack or a seizure or something.
What I should do is not let my wife see it tonight. Okay? And not even tell her about it. Okay? So when she gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning and get ready to go to work, I'll quickly, because it's not heavy, I'll wheel it down to the bedroom, right? And I'll put it right next to the bed with a sword kind of hanging over the bed. Could you imagine her waking up groggy and seeing this sucker? I guarantee. I mean, it even has the costume and has everything on it. I mean, it's crazy. But, they got, Freddy Krueger you can get. You can get all these other ones. And Freddy Krueger is really, really awesome one.
Well, what you ought to do is get the Freddy Krueger one. Do the eyes shine up red or something with lights?
But, yeah, they do. They do. They glow red.
Get the Freddy Krueger one. Don't let her know. And then sit down and watch one of his movies right before you go to bed, and then sneak it in on her. Believe me, she will think she's having a nightmare on Elm Street for real.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I could just see her, waking up and screaming.
Yeah, she'd end up throwing a rock at you like that thing threw a rock at you. I'll tell you, that might not be a good idea there, Gary.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Well, a major drug company, I'm not going to say who it is, just put a voluntary recall on their cancer medication because their cancer medication causes cancer.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Isn't that, I got to tell you, have you ever seen on TV these commercials for some of this medication? Not just that one, but any of them. And they'll go down a whole checklist of if you have this or this or this, or it may cause this or this, or my goodness, it's like that haunted house you're going to. When does the benefits, the side effects outweigh the benefits? What is it worth taking if you're going to get, 1 or 3 other things that go bad? You're going to develop start cultivating a baby arm growing out of your forehead or something because you're taking this stuff. It's bizarre. I mean, it's just not worth it sometimes.
Oh yeah. Back about 4 months ago when all this, my injury, one of the doctors said, "Hey, here is a prescription, but I got to tell you the side effects." And I said, "Okay, what's it do?" "Well, it's going to relax your muscles where you can, heal faster." I said, "That's cool." But one of the side effects is you can get an erection. And if you get an erection and it lasts more than 15, 20 minutes, you need to go back to the ER.
Let me guess, you need to call your wife.
and I said, "What's the odds are?" And he says it's maybe one of 20 people will have that effect. And I said, "What happens if you don't go to the ER?" He goes, "You'll have a permanent erection the rest of your life."
Oh.
Well, I didn't take it, but even if I did take it, I don't want to have to be in that position where and go to bed at night and with my wife next to me. I mean, I'm at the age where, I hate to say it. I'm not into sex anymore. It's not the biggest thing in my life right now. Okay. I can live with it once a month, Linda. That's no problem. You got me trained.
Speaking about these medications, well, look at me. Perfect example. Blood pressure medicine I was on for like 4 years. Then all of a sudden one day, my lips as big as Bubba Gump's and my eyes are swollen shut. It's like, what's going on? And the ER doctor said that's one of the side effects. I mean, it might not ever happen. Then one day after 4 or 5 years of taking it, boom, you swell up like a pumpkin, and it was scary.
No, I bet it would be. Now, our time is almost gone. See how fast it goes when we just talk?
Yeah, that's the best way. That's the best way. Just let it flow. All improv.
Well, do you have any, because we got about like 6 minutes. Yeah. What do you got?
I got some UFO stuff. I mean, I could touch on.
I like their music, UFO.
Yeah, I bet you do. I guess apparently Minnesota's been getting a lot of sightings. There's a whole bunch of sightings in Minnesota within the last, probably 3 weeks to a month. I mean, here's a couple of them right here. Here's one where my wife and I noticed what we thought was a star. It then started moving up and down, side to side, and 90-degree angles. Now, that's just one report, but there's tons of these like this. People have seen them, and they're seeing them in populated areas. So it's amazing that a lot more people aren't coming forward with more reports. Maybe they are, and they're just not. They're condensing them down into a bunch of them, But there's all kinds of them here. Here's another one. Nearly 100 times each year, Minnesotans file reports of suspected UFO encounters with a volunteer organization, and that's what it's talking about, where it's got a bunch of these reports in there, and they're all about the same, but they all describe, they're seeing that these objects move up and down, sideways, and stuff that, normal people and normal crafts wouldn't do, and we've talked about that before. You'd turn into mush.
Yeah, that's true. But, I mean, in Minnesota, of all places, they're getting reports now? They never hardly get any reports of UFOs.
I know it, and that's within the last 3 weeks. They've been getting all kinds of them. And here's another report. This one here, and it's even got a video or a picture and a video, and it's kind of intriguing. I'll tell you, it says a weird pyramid-shaped alien object spotted in the sky above Munich, Germany. I don't know if you've seen that yet, and that one just came out. That hasn't been out that long, but it truly looks like it's kind of behind the clouds. You can see it. It's pyramid shaped. It's no other best way to describe it. And it doesn't say when that was. I think that was the week of October 20th, maybe a few days before.
Interesting.
And yeah, too bad I couldn't show you the picture, but it's very intriguing. It's kind of like it's kind of night, but not night. But you can see it's a pretty good size. If it's a craft, it's a pretty good size one too. And that's another thing that we've heard a lot of recently is people describing these crafts the size of Walmart,
Well, that's been going on for a long time. It's sure strange that when I got into this business years ago, just right after they invented the wagon wheel, that the UFOs then were, reported 25 feet. A big one was maybe 50 to 100 feet. Now, all of a sudden, almost 40 years go by. Now they're like the size of Walmart or bigger. Now, maybe it could be true. Maybe there are different species. Maybe these things are little giants that are like 15 to 18 feet tall. Maybe that's why the spacecraft are so big.
Exactly. And then on the other hand, who's to say that, and you've touched on this before too, that who's to say that, depending on wherever they come from, the planet or whatever, there's a lot of things that come into play, like the size of the planet, the percentage of gravity on this planet because of it, the amount of oxygen in their atmosphere, if they even have oxygen or whatever it is that they need to survive. So coming here, they could be 6 inches tall, 3 foot tall, 12 foot tall. Who's to say? I think there's a lot of things that go into determining that. But, us humans, we have our own perceptions as everything being like us. And that, going into looking at anything like that could really surprise you or throw you off with the true results.
Well, it could, but just imagine a UFO the size of Walmart. That is really getting huge, and that it would be something we need to be concerned about. But how would they be getting through Earth's defenses? I mean, the radars and all the satellites and stuff without being detected.
Right, and honestly, I think a lot of them have stealth ability. I actually think, and some of the theories are that our stealth technology has come from technology that we've gotten from some crashed alien craft, supposedly, allegedly, as they say.
Well, I do know that Henry Ford never developed the engine. It was captured from a UFO, one of the early UFOs. I'm sorry, I just had to say that. I don't know why. I apologize.
Well, you should. I'm sure Henry's rolling over in his grave right now, getting all them millions of dollars out of the way to do so.
Yeah.
While he's laughing at you.
But
true. There's been sightings all over the place lately, I got to say.
Now, honestly, think about this, okay? Think about the Model A, Model T, all those early cars, okay? They're around the 1900s. You trying to tell me in a span of what? 90 years, 95 years or so, we gone from basically a horseless, horse and buggy to maybe having our own secret space force without some type of technology input into it? Come on. There's no way. I don't see our technology jumping that fast.
Well, how about this one? In the 1800s, right up to the turn of the century, we were still on horse and buggy. And you're telling me we went from that to go fast forward to like 69 years, so now we're on the moon? Think about that one for a minute. And about a 70-year span, we went from horse and buggy to we're on the moon.
Well, it's more than you're off. Okay, what year is this?
This is, 69 we went to the moon.
Yeah, I guess so. So about 70 years, okay, they barely had cars that could run in the 1900s, like 1900, 1903, 1905, right? To all of a sudden in 69, we're on the moon. I mean,
and then
something's up here. That. Okay, then why didn't they in 1495? Why didn't develop the horseless carriage then?
Exactly. And here's another one. Here's another scenario for you. How come since 69, 50 years from then till now, we haven't been nowhere but a couple hundred miles in orbit around the Earth?
I would have liked to been the first one to invent the disposable lighters back in 1695 or something. You know how rich I would have been?
Yeah, at a penny a piece, you'd have been rich because that would beat rustling up a couple sticks and trying to start a fire out in the middle of nowhere. That's for sure.
Oh yeah,
yeah, you'd have been rich.
Yeah,
you'd have been real rich.
Why wasn't I born back in 1695? I have no idea.
Well, how about Leonardo da Vinci? He's the one that had all these inventions right on paper, helicopters and all these modern inventions, but he didn't have them back then, or he didn't invent them, or they suppressed them, one of the two or something.
Yeah, well, if he had the technology to draw them and draw the plans, but you know what? They just weren't ready for it because they didn't have the technology to, interpret what he was doing. I mean, come on.
Oh, he's way ahead of his time. I've seen some of his drawings. I mean, literally has like a submarine he's drawn. He drew like a tank. And he looks like a helicopter, a primitive one, but I mean more or less a helicopter. You mad? And that's another thing. Look at some of those Egyptian artifacts that shows like a helicopter in the hieroglyphs or a plane or something. Have you ever seen those?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that really gets me because they really look like modern day helicopters and like the space shuttle even.
Oh yeah.
So that makes me think, did they see that stuff, or did they have a vision to the future, or did they have their own?
I think some people just actually can see the future, just like we have mediums and psychics that can see things. So I really think, guess what? it is time to go on break already. We'll be back in about 2.5 minutes. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio. And when we come back, we should have Sam coming on. And yes, we got James Christbaum Jr. So we got everybody here tonight.